So a huge part of my business that was over $1 million of our sales last year is actually not sending orders to customers at all. It is, of course, sending orders to other stores. And that's wholesale, which I've talked about a lot. Trade shows, online orders, catalogs, all of that. But it is so weird to me because I've been doing this for 5, 6, 7, almost 7 years, how much people don't know about what goes into wholesale or that it even exists. And so I thought it would be great to just kind of explain that world a little bit and how I got into it. I definitely recommend that if you already are going through all the trouble to design your own products and take photos and set up your whole store and do all of that to sell direct to consumer, you might as well also offer wholesale sales. For me, wholesale is about 25% of the revenue, but for some companies, it's way more, like 90. So if you start as a direct to consumer company, and you're not doing wholesale, you could be leaving a lot on the table. I actually would argue that direct to consumer is harder in some ways, but there is a lot of industry knowledge that goes into wholesale that can be really intimidating to acquire. Once you've got that, I actually think wholesale can be kind of easier to kind of keep up, and you can still bring in a good chunk of revenue and move a lot of product without a ton of effort. So why would you leave that on the table? I got into wholesale by accident, actually. So obviously, if you know my story, which if you don't, go watch my video on it. It is kind of a wild ride. I started out on Etsy and I got into selling stickers in 2018, late 2018. And stickers were starting to become a huge thing. You probably remember, but that was when people started putting them on water bottles and laptops. And honestly, that was kind of like the beginning of when stickers became like waterproof and was something that you could like put on your water bottle and run through the dishwasher. And I think that had a lot to do with how popular they got. When I started selling out stickers on Etsy, not a ton of places were, and you weren't like, it wasn't so easy to go find a sticker that was like cute and something you wanted to put on your water bottle. So a lot of people did turn to Etsy and artists like me to make sort of like stickers that appealed to them and weren't like super generic or ugly or whatever. When I started doing well on Etsy with stickers, I also started to get the attention of store owners who were also looking for stickers but could not buy them through their normal channels. The greeting card industry has always been really huge, and wholesale has been a big part of that for companies that just sell greeting cards. Like there's a ton of small independent companies just like mine that pretty much just sell greeting cards. So stores were able to get greeting cards through their normal channels easily. That was like a no-brainer, but they, I think, started to see stickers in the same vein, didn't know where to get them, started searching on Etsy and found my shop. And I just kept getting requests to order like, oh, can I do like 50 of this sticker for my store? Or can I order 10 of each of these, like 10 stickers for my store? And I was like, oh, this is really crazy. Like, it's awesome to get a request for 50 stickers. And so I started offering wholesale rates. I think I had to be coached through it by those store owners, to be honest. I don't actually remember how it all went, and when I learned that wholesale rates were about 50% off retail. So that was kind of a learning curve for me. And I truly don't even remember how it worked. I probably just like had to ask her. They were like, actually, normally I get 50% off. And I was like, okay. So I started doing that. And then I ended up getting on Faire. And that's kind of a complicated story because Faire at the time in 2019, was just starting out. Faire is a large wholesale platform. It is like the dominant wholesale platform that's like basically like the equivalent of Etsy, where there's independent sellers who sell through this platform and you can search up the product you're looking for and have options from a bunch of different companies. And they were trying to set themselves apart from other wholesale platforms that were out there. There were a lot actually at the time. Etsy had their own. I think Shopify had their own, like Tundra, and There was one that I can't remember that was affiliated with one of the trade show companies that runs New York Now. There was tons of these platforms because people were trying to navigate how wholesale could be done online since it was kind of a new thing. It's hard to even think back to 2018 and think about how different e-commerce was then. And like, it was kind of pre-TikTok, pre a lot of social media marketing. So anyway, Faire was new and they were trying to set themselves apart by being like bougie and fancy. And they were not really interested in letting like sticker brands on because stickers were seen as kind of like trivial and silly. So I got rejected from Faire. They're like, we're not letting sticker brands on. I was like, okay, I guess that's how it goes. And then a company approached me to start licensing one of my sticker designs. They were a sticker printing company that printed stickers and sold them wholesale. So I started doing that deal with them. They started selling my designs through their company, licensing all of that. Everything was on the up and up. And I realized they were just using Faire. So I emailed back Faire. I didn't use their normal application process and was like, hey, so you rejected me, but my design's already on there because like someone else is licensing them. So like, you should just let me on there. And at that point, they were like, yeah, sure. So I think I was like maybe the second like dedicated sort of sticker brand. Like I didn't have anything else on Faire really when I started besides stickers. And then, you know, surely, and not even slowly, a lot of companies that sold greeting cards started doing stickers and everyone started doing stickers, of course. So then I started getting huge wholesale orders on Faire. It was actually, I don't think I've talked about this on YouTube before. This is kind of a crazy thing that I often forget about. It's January of 2020. Pandemic has not started yet. I'm in law school. I'm going to law school, dropping off my Faire orders and my Etsy orders in the basement of the law school at the mailroom, going to school all day, coming home at 3, checking my orders, whatever. Refreshing my orders in con law, actually. That's a like core memory for me. So it's just so exciting to be able to sell like over $100 worth of product at a time when I'm used to selling like a $3.50 product most of the time on Etsy. So that was a thrill. So I'm doing all of that. Things are going well. Pandemic hits. Honestly, I thought like a lot of boutiques were going to start returning stuff because they're closed. That's not the case. In reality, I feel like a lot of boutiques and stores started buying more on Faire because they weren't going to in-person shows. So I'm picking up a lot of customers on Faire. I'm getting a lot of orders. And so I'm trying to keep up with demand because I'm used to selling, I don't know, like 5, 10 stickers, whatever, different designs and selling them one at a time. So like I order 30 to 50 stickers and I'm like, holy cow, that's a lot of stickers to buy at once. On Faire, people are ordering 10 stickers at once. So I'm like, oh wow, I need to order a couple hundred of this design, not like 30. And so that got expensive really fast, but I hated the idea of not being able to keep up with orders. I did not want anything to be sold out. And thankfully, sticker ordering was really fast turnaround, like a week or so. So that wasn't like too hard to stay on top of, but I did get behind on filling orders and like it was hard to keep everything in stock and manage the inventory. I had no systems for this. I didn't know what I was doing. And also Faire has like 30-day payout terms. So I started getting more and more orders on Faire, but I wouldn't get any of the money for like 30 days. So I'm ordering stickers and then I'm sending them out and then I have to wait 30 days. Anyway, long story short, this was like my first year running my business seriously. Like I wasn't like, I didn't have a bunch of, you know, cash in the bank. Like this was kind of new that I was doing like, you know, tens of thousands. Like I think I ended up doing like $300,000 of sales total that year. I think $20,000 the last year. So I don't have money laying around to buy the inventory that I need to meet the demand. So the crazy thing is I maxed out all of my credit cards. Every single one of my credit cards. I didn't have like my business and personal finances divided at the time. So I was like, okay, I need to pay rent, but I have no money in the bank because instead I have like 1,000 stickers. Don't think the landlord's gonna accept stickers as payment. So anyway, yeah, I was like trying to get my credit limit like raised. I think I ended up investing maybe like $15K in stickers. Anyway, I wasn't late on any of the payments. I didn't pay a cent of interest. I still haven't paid a cent of credit card interest to this day. It's a point of pride for me. I would just hate the idea of paying credit card interest. But I did at one point feel like I was really on the edge of financial ruin for stickers. And also at the time, like now it's like, okay, stickers, that's obviously a consumer product. You don't even have to explain it to like older people that you're putting a sticker on your laptop or water bottle. At the time, I don't know how to like impress this upon people who weren't living the life I was living in 2018 because it feels normal now. People were like, what are you doing with these stickers? My like 90-year-old grandma was like, you sell stickers? What are you talking about? Like, It did not make any sense. Like, I wasn't talking like the little Chiquita sticker on a banana. No, like this is like a decorative product. This isn't like a sticker in the sense that you're used to. So I just felt like I was being super crazy. Who maxes out their credit card to buy stickers, especially at the time when people didn't understand that that was a real product? So thankfully that all worked out, and I started adding more products to wholesale. It started going well, and it just became this really good way to help grow the business. I also got on TikTok. Direct to consumer took off. Thankfully I had plenty of sticker inventory, so because of wholesale, so it all kind of worked out super well. If I had not made that upfront investment and gone in on that train early, I think my business would be very different. Like right now, I feel like I don't talk about stickers anymore at all. I haven't made a new design in like maybe a year because I'm working on other stuff that sells really well and is more interesting to me, honestly, at this point. But it's just funny to think like 18 employees, 10,000 square foot warehouse. This is all built on stickers. So fast forward to 2025. By that point, wholesale is like 20-25% of the revenue. I feel like there's some pretty untapped potential there. I know there's brands out there that do 90% wholesale and do way more wholesale sales than I do. And I know my products are proven because I know people buy my products direct to consumer. So I know that they would do well in stores as well. And in January of 2025, there's obviously the TikTok ban, which I've discussed at length many times. And that was pretty existential as far as a threat to my company. So I was thinking, what is something that I could do to possibly try to replace 40% of my revenue if that is lost when TikTok Shop, all of that goes away, if it goes away. And the only thing that seemed realistic was maybe wholesale could possibly replace some of that lost revenue. And so I decided to really put my weight behind it in 2025. Thankfully, TikTok did not go away. So that's good. But we did start trying new things, putting more effort into the wholesale shows, going to more wholesale shows. I hired Wendy, who is our wholesale director now, and spent all of her time just dedicated to wholesale, reaching out to customers, keeping up with requests from like national retailers, things like that. We started getting serious about making a catalog. We introduced new products that I thought would do well on wholesale. We kind of revamped our Faire site a little bit. We joined a rep group, Daniel Richards. So we really have tried to step up our wholesale game. And thankfully, I do think that has paid off. It's kind of a slow thing because you're trying to build up your client book and then slowly increase sales with like reorders and things like that. And I do think it's working. I think this year we will say that more of the revenue than 25% is from wholesale, although our direct consumer side is also growing, which is great. So it has some stiff competition as far as taking over a larger percentage of our revenue. But seeing growth there has been super rewarding. I have a lot of information out there about wholesale. I've talked about our wholesale catalog in depth. I have talked about attending trade shows so many times, tons of tips and tricks there. And if you are interested in any of that, I highly recommend taking a look at that because honestly, this information should probably be behind a paywall. Like I just see people on Instagram all the time or just out there, I guess, advertising like, I'll teach you how to do wholesale. I'm not saying that I'm the end all be all of this information by any means. I'm not an expert, but I have so much free info out there for you to take a look at. So I highly recommend before you pay someone for that. With everything that I have learned, we have had some really awesome milestones with wholesale. So we have been in some really, really cool stores. I have a whole video about that, but right now we're still working a lot with the paper store, with Blick. There's a huge national retailer that has been a dream of mine that I cannot talk about yet, but very soon later this year, they were picking up my coloring books, which really couldn't be more of an honor. So we've made so many strides. We recently got our biggest order ever from a Hallmark chain. So I'm super excited that we're going to be in about 40 of their stores, and that is just absolutely amazing. Trying to get into wholesale, I think, is super rewarding because it is a slow process. You have to be very patient, but it can really pay off when you get those big orders and those customers continue to reorder and are very dependable and reliable. So because of that, I would recommend it for people who design their own products. If you custom make products or hand make products, that's going to be more of a tricky scenario. I maybe wouldn't recommend because wholesale expectations are that you have product on hand that can ship out pretty quick. So if you're hand making something, That's gonna be harder. I know there's a lot of companies that are super successful making custom products. One that I can think of in general who are awesome is Freshwater Curated Goods. So you can go check them out, and they make everything in-house, like as far as like assembly and customization. So that's a really cool model that is totally available for people who are more in that lane. It's just something that I'm not as familiar with, and wholesale is a lot easier for me when our products come fully packaged and assembled and all of that to us. But it's something that I would just recommend looking into very seriously if you are already successful direct to consumer. Even if you're not successful direct to consumer, I would just try out wholesale because maybe that's your lane. There is a lot of industry knowledge, as I mentioned, to learn, and I feel like I have put out there so much information that I had no idea about previously. So like I said, before you go pay somebody, go look at my back catalog about wholesale. I feel like there's just a huge amount of sort of insider info that I've gathered over time, and it feels really scary and intimidating, but like once you learn that net 30 terms are just like, we'll pay you 30 days later, it's like, okay, why are we getting so fancy about this? It's really not a big deal. So once you get past the jargon and understand just how the whole wholesale world works, it's kind of a breeze. And I would recommend definitely trying it for your small business. I hope this has been helpful. If you guys want to hear more about wholesale or anything in particular, please let me know in the comments any other questions or stories that you want to hear about. I would be happy to chat about, of course. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well.